Hello everyone, and you're very, very welcome back to the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. Just very briefly, I would like to say a sincere thank you to Thomas O'Callaghan and Gemma O'Doherty on their podcast or stream last night in relation to the intimidation, coercion and collusion that took place in the United States of America to get people to tell lies and give false statements against Aaron and indeed other people. It was highlighted last night exactly what we have been saying over the last nearly 5 years now, and particularly since the start of Aaron's campaign in November 2020. So a big, massive thank you to Thomas. Very brave to come forward and tell the truth. And hopefully, we're very hopeful that the others will follow suit, and more people will come forward and tell their story and outline what happened to them. And again, that'll give full credence to everything we have said during the course of Aaron's trial and the investigation and how it was handled by the Irish judicial system. But don't want to stray too far from what happened. The live we created on, I think it was Tuesday evening, in respect of Mark Phillips and the testimony he gave in the court on Monday the 15th of April between 11:10 and 12:45 p.m. I have said before, it was disgusting, reprehensible, and a tissue of lies and perjury, and the omissions were glaring and indeed very misleading. We have started creating a number of short videos in respect to this, but let's have a look, and probably on the back of what happened last evening with Gemma and Thomas O'Callaghan's podcast. Let's have a look at the reality of this video and these clips that was released onto the social media. Let's have a look at, now that we know from a third party and an independent party the behaviour of these people. Let's have a little look at actually what takes place in these clips, because it was very evident on Monday last when the clips were played in court that, well, we'll see. We're going to play 3 short clips. We're going to have a very, very close look at them, and then we'll discuss how this could be seen as evidence. And one thing I will say about these 3 clips, the information and the words and the conversation between Mark Phillips and the witness and the interjections from Garda Paul Gill, not one word of it is on the statements that were typed up, signed by this man here and Paul Gill. Not one word of what you are about to hear made its way into the statement that was given to Aaron's defence team in disclosure. So that's we'll remind you that, but we will highlight it as we move forward. So we'll just have a little listen at this first clip now, and this is from the clips of the interview of the witness. So what you're looking at here is, this was on the screen on a laptop. Aaron recorded it with a phone, and he did send it to some friends, but it made its way out onto the World Wide Web. And we will say once again, totally detrimental to Aaron's defence. And you will see quite clearly why it was detrimental. And you will see quite clearly when we highlight what is in these clips, you will see quite clearly why on Garda Síochána, and particularly Phillips and Gill, did not want this witness to come and testify in Aaron's trial. So let's have a listen to the first clip.
It's only 17 now. 12 to 17, 17. So sorry. I think your time is okay. What did I say when I came home? I said 12 and then you're here 7 years, so... Oh no, I'm not done. Then you're not here 7 years, that's fine. It's definitely 12, is it, that you come over? Yeah, it's definitely 12. Okay, so that's alright. Okay, so...
The previous clip is relatively innocuous, only a discussion over the dates when the witness moved to America. But what is interesting here is this Detective Gill And Detective Gill was actually involved in arresting the witness, searched his house, searched his vehicle, and the witness was taken to court. And as you can see there, he was found guilty for having drugs with the intent for sale or supply. So that in any way, shape or form is drug dealing. And that detective sitting there is fully aware that the witness had absconded from Ireland, not alone for the drug charges, but also his involvement in an assault in Carlingford. Now you can see there that a man was acquitted. This is actually the witness's father that was acquitted from the assault, but the witness sitting there absconded from Ireland and left Ireland, and there was an extradition warrant live. And we can see here there's three names. Mr. Silverband was a senior official with Homeland Security. Obviously, our Detective Inspector Patrick Murray is involved, and a high-ranking Irish DPP official, Ray Briscoe, conspired, as you can see there, to have interference organised on an extradition warrant. And you can see there, would be grateful if you would allow a further period of time of 2 weeks prior to proceeding with the execution of the extradition warrant. So we can see here quite clearly at the highest level, the Irish authorities were making this extradition warrant disappear, as we know it did. I think that little clip there is fairly self-explanatory. The conversation, as I said in the clip, is innocuous, to just trying to sort out the dates of when the witness moved from Ireland to America and the intervening period, whether it was 2 or 5 years. They're just ironing out dates. But that is not the important part. We've highlighted that Gill was sitting there, and nowhere in that young man's statement is there any mention of the extradition warrant, the outstanding GBH Section 4 charges, the European arrest warrant. Nothing is mentioned, and that was withheld from Aaron's defence team. So once again, we want to say, and we will repeat, the fact that this young man was stopped, and again, there's big issues with that. There doesn't seem to be any paperwork from an Garda Síochána, no paperwork from an Garda Síochána, and we'll cover this when we come to the 15th of April. No paperwork whatsoever to say, or any interactions with the witness and a Garda Síochána where there was an actual stop or dissent by the witness and refusal to come forward. It never happened. An Garda Síochána had it pre-planned to stop him. Phillips, Gill and the Irish DPP stopped this young man coming to give evidence. And using the release of the video clips was just an excuse to attack Aaron's campaign and obviously attack Aaron Brady once again. So, repeating, not one mention, not one word of drugs, illegal immigrant, European arrest warrant, extradition warrant, serious Section 4 charges here in Ireland. No mention of that whatsoever. So how can that statement be taken in any way seriously that would form the part of a prosecution? But there's indeed, there's a lot more detail in these few little short clips. We're going to look at clip number 2 now. And this is where the poor young man was put under severe duress and pressure. And you can see that. And he's getting his story wrong. And the detectives are trying to cover up basic facts. So if we can imagine there was any truth in what Mark Phillips and the DPP are portraying here, that Aaron Brady sat down with this young man, this witness, and give him some details about what happened if Aaron had to have anything to do with it. This young man would have the details in his mind, because everyone, if you are sitting anyone in the Irish public, if you're sitting speaking to someone and they're telling you they were involved in a heinous crime such as this, any little notion or major detail they would tell you, surely you would get that right. That would stick in your mind. And obviously, those discussions from where this young man was arrested back into the NYPD precinct where this interview took place in New York. So let's have a listen to clip number 2 when the witness gets his lines wrong and Mr. Phillips is not happy.
My cousin were with him. Yeah, the car. He said it was BMW. The car was a BMW. Well, just I think just cast your mind back to try and recall what he said in relation to the car. I said what was it? He said it was. I said what sort of car was it? He said it was like a. I don't know. Well, I think he said BMW.
So there we have the witness telling Phillips, Gill and Riley in the background there. He was there for the carry the coffee. The witness is saying the car that was stolen they're talking about was a BMW. Phillips says, well, stop, think. Cast your mind back to what he said in relation to the car. And the witness keeps continuing, yeah, he said it was a BMW. The vehicle stolen in Clowerhead was a blue Passat. And Garda Síochána have alleged that this blue Passat was used at the Northern robbery. The only 2 witnesses, Detective Joe Ryan and Mary, the credit union worker, who actually seen the vehicle, said the vehicle was grey or silver. But notwithstanding that, let's get back to exactly what's happening here. This clip, this young man is saying that he was told that it was a BMW that was stolen. He was getting his words wrong. And Mark Phillips knows it because he says very clearly, well, just stop and think. He can't interfere in a witness telling giving a statement like that. He's obviously saying, whoa, you're getting it wrong, witness. Stop. Go back. And I have said before, previously, Aaron says when you hear this originally on the original data on the laptop, he believes he can hear Phillips grinding his teeth because the witness is getting his lines wrong. So the testimony from this young man isn't worth 2D because the facts are wrong. Once again, I can tell you the words you have just heard spoken by Phillips and by the witness are not recorded in his statement. They have been eradicated. They have been erased because it does not suit the narrative. They have tampered with a witness's statement. Pure and simple, it's in black and white. There are no excuses, there are no trapdoors, there are no back doors. We know this was a setup and this was a framing operation. And we'll go into more details about that when we are scrutinising last Monday's testimony in the CCJ. Finally, we're just going to have a look at one more little clip. And again, it's when the poor witness is getting his lines wrong and Phillips actually tells him what to say. So let's have a look at clip number 3, please.
So that's the night of. So afterwards then, so what did he tell you about anything that happens afterwards then? Like, what do you mean? So they had to get away. They had to get away, yeah. So what did he tell you about that? Like, what do you mean? Well, so they had to leave. They had to leave the car park, and Adrian is there. So what did he tell you about that? You know, I think you mentioned earlier on about a car being burned. I'm pretty sure that's what they did, the burner, right? Did he tell you that? No, but see, it's on the news that he burned the car, so we all know that. Everyone knows that he burned the car. Oh, he did burn. I'm gassed. But everyone knows that. So what we want to know is what you know that he told you. Specifically what he told you. Not what's open source in the
There we have an interaction with a member of the NCBI, Mark Phillips, with the witness, and he asked the witness, did he tell you that? We're talking about burning of the car that was allegedly used in the modern robbery. Did he tell you that? And the witness said no. So Phillips continued, and he went on to say, it's on the news he burnt the car. Everybody knows that he burnt the car. Well, we all know that. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows he burnt the car. So that is the detective telling the witness. The judges will have seen that during the course of last week's trial in relation to the release of this video. The State Solicitor Susan Hudson will have seen the video clips. I'm sure senior members of Garda Síochána at the highest level will have watched these video clips that were released. Prosecution Counsel Logan Steen will have watched these video clips. Every one of those people I've mentioned, the Irish public, will know this man contaminated that statement, and to not put that into the actual witness statement. He typed it up, and none of that interaction was in the type statement that was put forward as evidence during the course of Aaron's trial. Nothing like that was put forward for the prosecution. This man tampered with the statements. This man put words in the witness's mouth. This man made statements to the man making a statement. That is not how statements are taken from witnesses. And I think just in the little interactions and the witnesses saying, well, what are you talking about? What do you mean? The car getting away. You can see quite clearly the young man is under serious duress to say the statement created by this man and his cohort, Gil. That short clip of 51 seconds speaks volumes and explains the whole interactions with on Garda Síochána and the criminals whom they took witness statements of in New York. If that is acceptable in any way, shape or form, well, it's simply not. It cannot be accepted. And we have to look again. You imagine Aaron locked in a cell for something he had absolutely nothing to do with, based on testimony from people like this, and he is looking at that. Is it any wonder that these are the clips that Aaron sent to his friends to say, look at what this bastard is saying here? And look, I think he says pig's head. Aaron is heard saying, when he's recording the video, he's heard saying pig's head. I assume he may very well be expressing his feelings for this man here, because it is quite obvious and everyone can see it. In that 51 seconds, it is totally illegal and it is contempt of any court in any jurisdiction anywhere in the world. Gil and the other lad, Riley, was party to it, and obviously Katsky, the Homeland Security agent, was facilitating this terrible, terrible crime committed by this man here. So we will, as I say, go through in more detail his testimony from this date, from the 15th, and we'll break it down into those little bits. So that's the whole thing about the video. This whole big furore, Reynolds, Schiller, them all lined up in the court to get their clickbait headlines. And this is what they're making clickbait headlines about. The absolutely fucking disgusting behaviour of that man. This man should be on trial for what happened in that interview room. So they can get all the clickbait headlines they want. And I'll ask all the mainstream media who watch these videos, is that right and proper what that man done in that room with the witness? Is there any excuse? Are there any circumstances where it would be accepted legally? Are there any circumstances where it would be accepted morally? Absolutely not. It's a farce and it's a disgrace. And that's why Aaron sent those clips to his friends. And I'll finish once again by saying the Brady family and Aaron are entitled to search for the truth.